Hey everybody, you're listening to the Ask BP podcast, and today we're talking about whether buy and hold investing works for the small local investor who plans to move away. Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
All right, today's question comes from a good buddy of mine, Ryan, from Shaker Heights, Ohio. And he asks, is the buy and hold investing strategy still a viable option for investors who want to invest in small multifamily properties but also plan to move away within the next few years? Ryan, this is a fantastic question and a really challenging one. I think it really speaks to a lot of young professionals who are living in new cities throughout the United States, and they want to get started in real estate investing, but they're not quite ready to commit to living in their city for the long term. Now, in the phrasing of your question, I see that you are acknowledging the fact that moving away will have negative consequences on the management or the return of your investment. I'm going to go ahead and spell that out for you. As a local investor, you can manage and visit your property when needed. This can add a lot of value to your property because nobody is going to manage your property the way that you would. This is especially true for the small multifamily units that you're talking about. With a large apartment building, it makes sense to just hire a person to manage that building for you, an on-site property manager. But with smaller units, that's not really economical. You're going to have to hire a property management firm who's going to have lots of other properties and isn't going to be taking quite as good care of your property as you would yourself, even if they are an excellent property manager. Now, to take a step back, many investors invest in small multifamily and single-family residences across the country to great success. They do this remotely by hiring great property managers or great property management firms. It's fairly common to invest in real estate through a property manager remotely. And in fact, there are even companies called turnkey providers out there that will provide you with a rent-producing income unit and manage it themselves for a pretty passive income investment. The cost of this, of course, is the property management fee, and which negatively impacts your total return. So if we acknowledge that investing out of state or out of area in real estate and hiring a property manager is both common and other investors are routinely seeing success through this practice, the question you're really asking is, do you believe that there are significant enough advantages for you to justify investing locally over the next few years and then finding a property manager locally to justify investing in your local market? Remember, you can go anywhere else in the country and find the best possible markets for real estate investing. So chances are your market is not necessarily the best one in the country. If you're going to give up the luxury of choosing whatever market you want to invest in across the country, and you're also going to give up the luxury of managing the property yourself over the long term, you need to have some advantage to investing locally that you believe justifies sacrificing both of those advantages. The answer to that is going to vary depending on every investor. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you an example of how I would answer that question personally as a real estate investor here in Denver, Colorado. Now, I don't intend to move anywhere, but let's say that I was a new investor looking to buy my first property, and I also plan to move away from Denver over the next 3 years. I personally believe that Denver is a fairly middle-of-the-road city when it comes to the potential for cash flow, which is the first metric I use in valuing real estate. There are plenty of markets in the Midwest, like Milwaukee or Memphis, Tennessee, that offer a better cash flow compared to the price of properties. So a $100,000 property might rent for $2,000 in Memphis versus that same property may only rent for $1,000 here in Denver. On the other hand, cities like San Francisco or New York offer much higher prices for relatively proportionally lower rents. So they might have $1 million unit that only rents for $3,000 a month, a lower proportion between rent and price, a worse one for the landlord. So given that I don't think Denver, Colorado is necessarily the best city to invest in for real estate, I have to have other advantages that I believe that I have as a local investor in the short term to justify investing in Denver rather than choosing one of those other potentially better markets. And I believe that I've got those. Here are some of them. First, I've got a great local network and I'm meeting investors all over the city. I think I've got a good feel for the city from talking to them, learning about the issues that are affecting the community, and that I have a better chance to spot highly appreciating parts of town or faster appreciating parts of town here in Denver than I would in another city like Milwaukee or Memphis. Second, I'm willing to house hack for a few years. That means I'm going to live in one of the units of a property that I'm investing in and rent out the others. That offers significant advantages in the form of putting down a lot less money, getting favorable interest rates that I might not be able to get investing in income property out of state, and basic management in those first couple of years. Those increased opportunities to purchase more real estate through added leverage and to have better financing terms definitely are an incentive for me to invest here in Denver, even if I plan to move away. My third advantage is that I'm willing and eager to go out and meet as many people in the real estate community here in Denver as I possibly can. That gives me a great shot at meeting that awesome property manager that I can hire out after I move away, right? I may not be able to do that in Memphis, Tennessee, or in Milwaukee because I don't get to know them over the course of the next couple of years as a resident here in town. My fourth advantage is that I'm willing to work on my property with my own hands. Do-it-yourself work I see as a new valuable skill that I could be learning. I look forward to doing that work, and it saves me a lot of money. Obviously can't work on properties that are not here in Denver in any routine fashion. Fifth, I live here in Denver. I love it here in Denver. Even if I were to move away, I'd want to come back and visit at least a few times per year. If I have income property out here, those trips could be at least partially business trips. That allows me to expense, again, at least part of that trip to property management, and it gives me a chance to kind of check on those properties, see how they're doing, kind of check in on my property manager, and verify that things are going the way I would want them to go. So to answer your question, in my case, yes, I believe that I would definitely still be investing in Denver, Colorado, even if I plan to move away in a few years. I believe that the advantages that I listed previously vastly outweigh the disadvantages. Well, that's it for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up here on YouTube, or if you're watching on BiggerPockets, just leave a nice comment in that comment section. And remember, in pursuit of your dreams, don't just learn, but take action. For the Ask BP podcast and BiggerPockets, this is Scott Trench signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.